You know, sometimes life is really just about making an effort, like just trying, just make an effort. And the truth is, an effort really never killed anyone, regardless of what the response to your effort was. Make the effort. Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluwatoyin Oyemade, Toyin for short and TY for shorter, which is where we get TY's thoughts from. One thing that has really captured my attention, for want of a word, in the last couple of weeks is the fact that people don't do great things simply because one reason: they don't even attempt to do these great things at all. And that can be for several different kinds of reasons. What inspired this conversation? I have two things that have happened in the last 2-3 weeks of people who wanted to do something, had many excuses or reasons for almost not doing it, but eventually did it. And I mean, I was totally blown. In fact, a friend of mine called me up last week and told me something that if that kind of idea came to my head, I would have given myself reasons why I shouldn't try such a thing. So what I've come to realize is that as human beings, we count ourselves out of so many opportunities and so many great things that can happen to each and every one of us because already we do not make that effort and we do not try. And if only you just decided, you had a certain idea and you decided to go for it regardless of or in spite of any mental blocks or limitations or human blocks or limitations on the outside, I think that many of us will be surprised at the results that we get. But let's talk about some of the reasons why we don't actually try some of the things that we think that we can do or the things that we want to do. And reason number one: because we judge many situations based on our own mental filters. We judge situations based on our own mental filters. What do I mean? So for example, maybe you want to invite someone to speak at an event, to speak at a program, or you want to go for an application, apply for a fellowship, apply for something, or you just want to take another step. Now what you start asking yourself is, but would that person respond? Would that person say yes? Would that person say no? People like that don't say yes. All those things that we do. You either think on behalf of the person or based on a past experience with another person, you decide and we make categorical statements like, I tried it before and people like that. I don't know where we got these people like that. We just categorize people, the same way we stereotype all sorts of people. People in this area act this way. And already you begin to make decisions for somebody else that is not yourself, based on the way that you see life or based on the way that you perceive life. And you'll be shocked how many times this holds people back. Someone shared with me how, she wanted to reach out to someone to do something for her. And she thought to herself, no, this person it's not going to do it, this person, I can't do it. She eventually reached out to this person only to realize that the person was more than willing. The person gave a positive answer and it was an absolutely amazing time out eventually. And she wasn't even the one that eventually made the move. It was somebody else that made the move. So she had already counted out the idea like it's not going to work. Luckily for her, there was somebody else that said, you know what, let's give it a trial. Let's do it. And sometimes that is all it takes. Don't use your own mental filters or the experience you had with someone else to base the decision on how you take another action. The truth is, we do not know. You do not know this person. You do not know their thoughts. You do not know their feelings. You don't know anything about them. And all you need to do is try. Which takes me to point number 2. So what if you get rejected? What if it's a no? Is it the end of the world? Many times make it seem as if rejection is the end of the world. Like, oh my God, they said no. Oh my God, she said no. Oh my God, he said no. There are some guys now, you've been looking at a certain girl, and the only reason why you've not walked up to this girl is because you're just thinking, so what if she rebuffs me? So what if she rebuffs you? Move on. It's not the end of the world. Now, don't get me wrong, rejection indeed can hurt. It can be painful when you reach for something and you get a no. You applied for a job, you got a no. You went somewhere to ask someone for something, you got a no. It can be painful, but the most important thing is at least you made that move. And maybe what you might need to assess, or the lesson you might need to learn from it, is what happened. If it's something, maybe you applied for a job and you didn't get the job, if you have the opportunity to find out or to ask why you didn't get the job, it might help you in your next application. But the most important thing is, don't count yourself out because already you're thinking, I will be rejected. Rejection never killed anybody. You don't want to know how many rejections people go through each and every day. You simply say, thank you so much, I'm very grateful. There are some rejections that you need to cry, right? There are some rejections that can be that painful and that hurtful. You cry it away, you wipe your tears, you get back up, and you try again. So rejection is never the end of the world. Take your no, learn from it, and move on. And so what's another thing that can hold us back from trying? And this one is a trap many, many times. It's a trap that has happened to me that I'm learning from, and I'm still learning from. Be careful who you share your ideas or the things you want to do with. Be very careful. Now, remember the first time I said that your own perceptions are the things that might hold us back. Sometimes it is the perception of the people within your space. And one of the things that is very instructive to me here is that, look, you have to understand that we have different kinds of people in our lives. We have different kinds of friends who all come from different backgrounds, have different worldviews, different experiences. And so you need to understand the kinds of people in your life and the kinds of people you should share ideas with. For some people, it just might not be that best friend. You might want to do something that is such a huge move, such a risk, so unbelievable, and you take it and share it with someone who has never tried to do that thing ever in life. Obviously, what they'll tell you is, Tony, you know, it's a good idea, but maybe not now. And it doesn't mean they are bad people. I've had people come to tell me, oh, I told my friend this, or it's even happened to me many times. I have friends that I tell you one thing, I tell you two things, I tell you three things, and every time it's almost like I end the conversation feeling deflated about my idea. But there are other conversations I can have with that same person that I'm pumped up. So what I have learned personally in the different relationships that I have in my life is each person is different, and their differences don't make them good people or bad people. Their differences just make them them. In fact, there was something, an idea popped into my mind about 2 weeks ago, and I looked through my friends and I said, who can I share this idea with that is not going to think I'm crazy, I've come with this brainwave and everything? Someone popped into my mind, I called her, and I was very correct. In fact, by the time we ended the phone call, she said this, she said that, it led to something else, remembered something we had tried to do 10 years ago, and it just blossomed into quite an interesting conversation. Now, that same conversation, that same idea, if I had it with someone else, I could have dropped that phone feeling depressed and just feeling like, Tony, that's very dumb. Because some people can just leave you with that feeling. So you have friends, maybe 5 of you are friends, you've been friends for years. It doesn't necessarily mean that all 5 of you think on the same wavelength and you can share everything with the 5 people. So don't let the perceptions of others be what is going to hold you back from trying. If you want to do big things, look for people that have done big things. They might not even be people in your radar. If you want to do big things, go and read about people that have done big things. Go and read about people that broke the glass ceiling. What it does is it builds possibilities in your mind. And when you want to try something that scares you, that is a risk, that you've never done before, you need possibility builders. You need dream builders. And like I said, you might have some friends in your space that are not necessarily wired to think like that. They are not bad people. I'm sure there are some areas that they are good for. They might just not be good for when you are trying out stuff. Another reason why we don't try is because you have an idea and you want to start from the very apex. You know, we have these big dreams and we tell ourselves, until you have that big thing to achieve the dream on that big level, you are not even going to make an attempt. Not realizing that you have your big dream, but you need to break it down to what is the most practical thing you can do about it at the level that you are. I always love the quote that says, it's not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. Think about that. Just like in the video that I talked about, what can you do with what you have? You will keep counting yourself out if you think, I want to build a house of 50 million and I need the 50 million now. No, you want to build a house of 50 million, you have the land, the first thing you need to do is dig the first ground, dig the first hole, whatever is the first step you need to do. And in that process, as you are doing, the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step will come. Many of us count ourselves out because we just want to start it big, we want to start it up there, and you never make an effort. You never try. People are moving on, life is moving on, and you're wondering, but how is this person doing it? How is that person doing it? One day at a time is how they are doing it. Look guys, I know that right now it's 4 months to the end of the year 2020, a year that has been quite an interesting year. And there's a mantra that has been going around this year, you know, this whole let's delete 2020, like 2020 never existed. God forbid. I know that you might be watching this and life has just been absolutely crazy from about March till August, but we still have 4 months. In this same 2020 that some people want to delete, some people have made their greatest profits, their greatest returns, their greatest relationships, their greatest networks. They've opened new doors, they've explored new things, because what this season has done is made so many people innovative to say, okay, I'm on lockdown. They started things online that have blossomed into all sorts of things today. Meanwhile, some people are just making excuses and saying, you know what, 2020 is a deleted year. 2020, that would be a great error. So look at yourself, look at the last 4 months of the year combined. Even if we had 30 days in total, 30 times 4 is 120. Some days are 31, so you still have a good 122 or 23 days in this year. What are you going to do with 122 days if you're saying 2020 should be deleted from your calendar? You just want to sleep for 122 days. Do you know how many things you can do in 122 days? So please don't join the gang of delete 2020. You need to, in case you've been there, you need to come to the gang of before this year ends, even if it's just one thing that you make an attempt at. You do that one thing, it works, praise God, hallelujah. It doesn't work, bam, moving on to the next thing. Don't count yourself out because, like I said, of your perception or of your past experiences. I applied for that job, I didn't get it, I'm not applying for anything again. I walked up to that girl to say I liked her, she eyed me, I'm not talking to any girl again. I did this happened. Perception, experience, let it go. The fear of rejection, accept it. Rejection is a way of life. Moving on. Don't go to people that are going to be destiny killers and dream killers because they themselves have never attempted to do things in their lives. If you go to someone that you know they have 5 dreams they've never done, yet you are taking your one dream, what do you expect? Do you think they will tell you to go for it? Of course not. They themselves cannot see beyond their noses. So they will tell you, just manage your expectations. You know, in this 2020, we are just surviving. Stories that touch. Go to people that have done big things. There might be people you know, there might be people you don't know. If there are people you do not know, we are in the world where knowledge is everywhere. They might have done interviews, they might have done videos, they might be on Google, they might be on YouTube, or you can find somebody else that can tell you about them. What you really need in this season is people that will expand your mind and break barriers. I shared a story about a friend of mine that reached out for something and got it. It's like she just broke off a certain barrier, a certain covering, like something in my mind. I used to think I was bold and fearless, you know, but there are levels and layers to these things. So even if you're someone watching this and you feel like, hey, braggadocio, you can do great things, you can try great things, there is always a level, there is always greater. And in the next 4 months of this 2020, you need to try, you need to make a move, you need to step forward, you need to get ahead, you need to just make that effort. And if you make that move and you make that effort and you succeed, hey, thumbs up, all well and good, throw a party. No, don't throw a party. But if you don't succeed, hey, you will be fine. Remember the words of that song. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Try again. If you decide not to try again, whatever, just make sure you make that effort, you make that move, and you can look back and you won't be looking back in regret that, oh, had I tried? You can look back and say, you know what, I tried it, it didn't work, I moved on, I tried other things, or I tried again. But don't be in that place where there's something genuinely burning in your heart, and for fear of all sorts of things or just wrong notions or perceptions, you did not try. I hope that this has been good information for you. Thank you for watching this video. Until the next one, bye.